Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from Not the Commander Score Studio. Welcome to the show. So now the moment that you've all been waiting for all of spoiler season, the golden pig of murders at Karlov Manor. What is my favorite commander of the set? Or the top 10 commanders, in my opinion, of the set? Not necessarily the most powerful commanders, but which are my favorites for one reason or another. So with all that said, let's jump into it. So first up, starting off at number 10, we've got Masker Girl Known Killer. That's right, Masker Girl is back, and I really like the new design. A 4/4 human assassin with menace that costs 4 mana in total in black. Creatures you control have Wither, which is a mechanic, a keyword that we have not seen in a long time. I think like Morning Tide, essentially, like back then. It's been a long time since we've seen that. And this one essentially is like, hey, you know what? My creatures are going to make your creatures get -1/-1 counters on them. On top of that, whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, if its toughness was less than 1, draw a card. So this is very spicy. I think this one has a lot of potential. I do like this one. I like that this one is limited to just mono black because I think it would be a bit pushed if it wasn't. Wither is a pretty powerful thing. I mean, it's not like Infect powerful, which is just basically Wither plus poison. That being said, it is a deterrent for your opponents to like actually block or attack you because of the permanent damage essentially on their creatures. And also, when it comes to drawing cards, yeah, this has an absurd amount of potential because there are certain cards out there, like, you know, what is it, Languish? You've got cards like, well, Toxic Deluge at higher budgets, but you've got ways to give creatures -X, or minus a certain amount, essentially, to take them out, to make their toughness less than 1, essentially, right? Outside of just that Wither, and draw an absurd amount of cards. So, yeah. I like this push and pull of this commander. I like this design. I like the menace on it too. I mean, not just because the menacing character of Masker Girl, but also, yeah, commit multiple creatures to getting Wither counters on them essentially. So, yeah, it's a really cool design. I like Masker Girl coming back. And of course, congratulations, Masker Girl, on your 10th place finish. Speaking of coming back, well, at 9th place, I've got Aurelia, the Law Above. One of the very first commanders that we saw spoiled, in a favorite of mine since the beginning. A 4/4 angel with flying vigilance and haste that costs 5 mana in total in Boros. Whenever a player attacks with 3 or more creatures, you draw a card. Whenever a player with 5 or more creatures attacks with 5 or more creatures, Aurelia, the Law Above, deals 3 damage each opponent and you gain 3 life. This one, again, it's just like thinking back to the days when like Boros had like no good commanders. No offense, Boros players out there, but like before Firesong and Sunspeaker, like they were all hot garbage for the most part, right? Because just attacking in commander isn't always the best strategy. Like if you're an aggro deck, it's like, cool, I got all my stuff out, I destroyed that player, and then a Wrath comes in, then I'm set to nothing, and I probably lose. That being said, there's kind of this new kind of Boros commander that's like, hey, attacking, but with a twist to it. Because again, this affects all players. If any player attacks with 3 or more creatures, you're drawing cards, which means that with each trip around the table, you have the potential to draw 4 cards, which is pretty crazy. So, of course, you can utilize things that maybe incentivize combat, like, you know, goading effects, force attacking, you know, force blocking potentially too as well. You can give key build tokens, you know, like that force to attack. Like, I guess Lightning Rager is not really forced to attack, but it's a highly incentivized thing. And also, again, when you are doing this again, not only getting card advantage, but if players are attacking with enough creatures, well, you also are going to be dealing damage and gaining life as well. Of course, you've got ways to play into life gain benefits, ways to play into extra damage benefits as well. They damage doubler or damage tripler. You got some exciting things that you can do this one. Again, I like that this is, hey, attacking, but with a purpose. With a purpose to make it so that, yeah, you're not just like, yeah, I use all my resources to try to take you out with my attacks. Oh, I'm done. No, this gives you resources. This gives you a reason, not just for you to attack, but to force your opponents to attack, and maybe use some Ghostly Prison type effects so that they're attacking other players, or again, goad. See, I like the design of this one. Very solid, very effective, good for Boros. Congratulations again, Aurelia the Law Above, on your 9th place finish. Moving on to number 8. Yeah, if you've been following this channel for a little while, you know that I'm a sucker for 5-color commanders. Guilty as charged. Nib Mizzet Guild Pack coming in at 8th place. Had to happen somewhere in this list, right? Because it's 5-color. I think it's the only 5-color one from the set. Anyways, a 6/6 Dragon Avatar for 5 mana. Wooburg! Flying Hexproof from multicolored. When it deals combination to a player, it deals X damage to any target. Target player draws X cards. You gain X life for X the number of differently colored pairs among permanents you control that are exactly 2 colors. That last part is really specifically worded. Basically, hey, how many guilds do you have in play? There you go. That is going to be your X amount, which again, could be up to 10 damage, could be up to 10 cards drawn, could be up to 10 life gain. Life gain is a bit, it's not nearly as good as the other things, but still, I mean, you can take advantage of it, of course. You've got ways to take advantage of that. That being said, this is a very interesting commander, one that can be a pretty big threat. Again, 6/6 flying, hexproof or multicolored. That is going to be decently hard to deal with. I mean, there are still things that can deal with it, obviously, like Swords of Plowshares. Sure. That being said, this can lead to some very interesting builds because, yeah, you could just go miscellaneous cards of each guild, and there's plenty of very, 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 very powerful ones. That being said, you could also be like, in the way that I thought about initially, like, hey, what's the hardest permanent to deal with typically? And in my mind, that would be enchantments. Typically, enchantments are the hardest permanent to deal with. Compared to other ones like creatures, there's a lot of wraths that they're like, hey, destroy all creatures. Like, oh no, my creatures are gone. Yeah, but when it comes to actually saying like, oh, let's get a bunch of enchantments in play, you can do like an enchantment tribal type build around this one just to get a lot of enchantments of different guilds in play, do a lot of different things with that, and also get an absurd benefit from this, playing into both the damage and the life gain too, as well as the card draw. You can do some pretty cool things with this. Of course, you can play into double strike on this too, because again, that is a combat damage trigger. Extra combats as well, maybe extra turns if you want to get pretty nasty with this. But yes, Nib Mizzet Guild Pack. I like this brand new Niv. And yeah, excited to see another 5-color commander. So again, congratulations, Nib Mizzet Guild Pack, on your 8th place finish. Next up, we've got 7th place with Marvo Deep Operative. Maro, do you have a cousin named Marvo or something like that? Mark Rosewater, no? Okay, anyways. A 1/8 Octopus Rogue, because that's a thing, that costs 5 mana in Dimir. When it attacks, clash with defending player, which is another mechanic, I think from like, again, Lorwyn block, essentially, that like we haven't seen in a long time. Each class and player reveals the top card of their library, then puts that card on top or bottom. Player wins if they have a higher mana value. I like that mechanic. I think that's pretty cool, actually. It's kind of like each player scries, but whoever's got the bigger thing gets the clash benefit, or at least you do. Because whenever you win a clash, draw a card, then you may cast a spell from your hand with mana value 8 or less without paying its mana cost. That is a really cool effect. Again, this is the type of commander I like to see, okay? Again, a big payoff, but with a specific restriction for that payoff. A specific thing that you need to meet. Again, you have to win that clash. If you don't, you're just swinging with a 1/8 that does nothing other than help you basically scry. So, and an opponent's scry too. So essentially, you need some library manipulation things potentially. You need ways to look at the top of not just your library, but your opponent's as well. Maybe some mill cards in there too. And of course, some big heavy hitters. I mean, I would just literally go like Scryfall. Okay, search for Dimir cards at 8 mana value and be like, oh, what giant things can I cast for free? Yeah, you can do some pretty cool things. Lumog's Crusher, I think that's 8. Anyways, a lot of really cool things, even on a budget, that you can just cheat and play with this, do some really crazy things, have some crazy turns, I am sure. So yeah, I like this design. Again, I like big, powerful, juicy effects, but ones that are, well, you need some actually build up to actually get to. You need either luck with this one, essentially, or you need to actually plan ahead, work it out, and make it so that you can hit this consistently. So yeah, I do like the design of this one. Congratulations, Marvo Deep Operative, for your 7th place finish. Next up, we've got Atrata, Deadly Fugitive, a 1/4 Vampire Assassin for 3 mana in Dimir with Death Touch. Face down creatures you control pay 2 blue and a black. Turn this creature face up. If you can't exile, then you may cast the exile card that pays its mana cost. Whenever an assassin you control deals combination to an opponent, look at the top card of that player's library. So this is an interesting commander that you can go in a couple of different directions with, and I do like that aspect for commanders, essentially, when it's like, hey, I can take it this way, I can take it that way. Of course, you can go Assassin Tribal, getting cloaked off the top of your opponent's libraries, and then utilizing their own spells against them, essentially, with those face-down creatures, which can be quite fun. Again, being able to essentially flip over and cast any of your face down creatures for 4 mana or less if, say, you have like a Training Grounds in play, which can be very, very good with this commander, obviously. But yes, being able to go in that direction. You could also go in a direction that's like cloaking your own things, or, you know, morphing, or also, well, manifesting too. So again, you can cheat into play some very powerful things, flip them essentially at a moment's notice, and be able to cast them, again, basically not for free, I was going to say, but, you know, for 4 mana. So yeah, you could do like a big omniscience type play. You could do some really crazy things with that. I do like, again, when you have a powerful, interesting effect, you can build around it in multiple ways. And also, it does take some setup. It's not just like, hey, you win. No. You got to actually build around this. And again, the multiple pathways for this commander, I think, are very, very interesting. Yeah, it's a really cool commander. Congratulations again, Atrata, Deadly Fugitive, on your 6th place finish. Next up, though, we've got Yarus, Roar of the Old Gods, coming in at 5th place, a 4/4 Centaur Druid for 4 mana in Gruul. Other creatures you control have haste. Whenever one or more face-down creatures you control do a combination with player, draw a card. And whenever a face-down creature you control dies, return to the battlefield face-down under someone's control if it's a permanent, then turn it face-up. Okay, I absolutely love this design. First up, just giving your creatures haste, that's nice. Helps you be aggressive. Secondly, again, hey, some combat damage requirement, but you can get some card advantage out of this. It is limited to basically 3 cards per combat cycle, essentially, but there's ways, you know, get more than that, essentially. There's ways to, like, oh, let's swing again, extra combat, whatever. So there's ways to go around that too. But yes, this commander is providing you with value in multiple ways. And that last way, again, is spicy. Being able to say, okay, again, face down creatures, no matter what they are, if it's a manifest, it's a morph, it's a disguise, if it's a cloak, whatever it is, I can take advantage of that. So you can utilize this commander in a couple of different ways. Again, you could go like morph tribal, you can go cloak trap, whatever you want to do with that, or you can go like, hey, let's get some things out that we shouldn't be able to get out, cheat them into play essentially with like a manifest or whatnot, and then decide, oh, you know what, we've got some free sacrifice outlets like a Gum Bombardment, sacrifice them when we need to, and essentially flip it over and get into play for free. So yeah, being able to cheat that stuff out is really cool. Again, does require setup. Very powerful commander. You can take it in multiple directions. Again, I really like what they did with face down commanders in this set. Ones that care about that, because there's only been so many so far, and I think this one really hits a sweet spot, does a lot of cool things, and again, gives you kind of like a Gruul aristocrat style commander. Heck yes, sign me up for that. So again, Yarus, congratulations on your 5th place finish. But now we're moving on to number 4. Vannifar is back with Vannifar Evolved Enigma, a 3/4 Elf Ooze Wizard, because that's the thing, that costs 4 mana in Simic. At the beginning of combat on your turn, choose one. Cloak a card from your hand, or put a counter on each colorless creature you control. This is the type of Simic commander I want to see, Wizards. I do not just want to see, be like, okay, lands, and draw. Wow, good job, Johnson. Promotion. No, it's not exactly what the players want to see these days, right? Give us something new, Simic. And yes, this is something new. This is kind of like our previous face down commanders, but it actually gives you that engine to get those cards down and essentially say, hey, I just cheated this into play. Why not? It's down as a 2/2. You don't know what it is. You have no idea what it is. And I am in blue, which is huge, because if this was just mono green, it would not work in this way. You've got access to blink spells. I mean, I guess Conjurer's Closet, sure, but like most blink spells are in either blue or white. You've got access to at least half of that, and there you go. Cheat big things into play, essentially. At the end of combat turn, you cheat something massive into play, maybe an Eldrazi or whatnot, and then you blink it and you flip it, and all of a sudden, for like a single mana with like an Essence Flux, you just cheated into play like a massive 12 costing creature or whatnot. And again, it doesn't have to be a creature. It can be a giant permanent. You can do some absolutely crazy things with this, and again, it gives you avenues to play. If you actually just want to go around, you know, morph, if you want to go around disguise, cloak, all the face down things, you can absolutely do that. If you want to go colorless tribal, you can do that. It lets you go in those avenues. But again, you have the ability to say, you know what, let's just do some absolutely obnoxiously crazy things with this commander that is outside of the lane of what Simic normally does. Again, lands and ramp, lands and ramp, lands and draw. There we go. So yeah, basically a commander that takes things in a different direction. I like to see that. Thank you, Wizards, for giving us another Simic commander that is not just the normal cookie cutter. Thank you so much. Again, congratulations, Vanafor Evolved Enigma, on your 4th place finish. Next up, though, moving on to 3rd place, they finally did it. We have bears. I mean, we have gotten like bear tribal commanders before, but it's been a bit weird. Like our very first bear commander was not a bear tribal commander really at all. It was like, hey, big creatures, all right? And then after that, it was like, okay, fine. Here's one that cares about all bears, not just 2/2s. This one is like, no. I care about 2/2s, which are bears. And if you don't know the history of Magic, just look that up a little bit, okay? Bears are 2/2 creatures. A 5/5 legendary creature bear for 5 mana in Naya. Finally getting access to more colors as well. That is huge. Naya is a good color combination for this. Enters the battlefield, draw a card for each creature you control, base power toughness 2/2. Insane value. Like I said earlier, Vanafor, again, you had access to blue, which gives you blink effects. You have access to white, which gives you even more blink effects. So again, you can utilize that to draw an absurd amount of cards throughout the game. And again, you're just building around basically every single creature you can. That's amazing. That is a 2/2, which is huge because, again, it cares about base power and toughness. So you can adjust that with counters. You can adjust that with anthems. And speaking of that, whenever a creature controlled base power toughness 2/2 attacks, gets +3/+3 until end turn. In extra, I was going to say overrun effect, but there's no trample there too. But still, a basically overrun without the trample. +3/+3 is a massive boost, turning your 2/2s into at least 5/5s. That is a huge boost for them, getting them up to Descana's actual, power essentially, which is lovely. But yes, being able to add on top of that again with counters, add on top of that with anthems, go wide with 2/2s, do a lot of exciting things with that. And again, a card draw engine. This is the bear commander that many players out there have been waiting for a long time. Yes, we have gotten other ones like Ayula. We've gotten other exciting ones, absolutely. But those are just like bears. This is bears, these are 2/2s, which are bears, right? So there you go. It's kind of confusing if you're not a Magic player from a long time ago that knows what exactly what bear is. But regardless, yes, Descana the Rage Mother, that is a fantastic name too. I am so excited that you are here. Congratulations on your 3rd place finish. Moving on to number 2, Kylox, Visionary Inventor. A 4/4 Viashino Artificer. That's right, we got a Viashino commander, but not Viashino tribal, but still very exciting. 7 mana in total, and is it? It better be good for 7 mana. Menace, Ward 2, Haste, Ward 2. I won't really complain too much on this one because it is a commander that does cost quite a bit, even though Wizards likes to throw Ward on everything. Regardless, whenever it attacks, sacrifice any number of other creatures, then exile a top X card. Your library X is their total power. You may cast any number of instant or sorcery spells from one of the exile cards without paying the mana cost. Oh my goodness. This is the type of commander where you're like, hey, can I cast my entire library? Absolutely you can. This is a crazy effect. Again, I love that they put haste on this and say, hey, you know what? What you're going to do is you're going to set yourself up. You're going to get creatures out there with a lot of power, a lot of creatures potentially, or whatever you're going to do. Get a lot of power on the board, however you need to do that. Then get this in play, sacrifice other creatures, and just, at the top of your library, you're just going to say, okay, it's all gone. Let's cast every single instant sorcery from my deck. You don't have to do exactly that, but yeah, you can do some really crazy things with it. It's like an epic experiment, essentially, on a commander that goes about in a very exciting way. I mean, the way that I'd probably build around it would be maybe like some big creature tokens potentially, so you have more instant sorceries that actually make those creature tokens. So yeah, you're not just like whiffing on a lot of things out the top of your library. That being said, there are certain creatures out there like, not Malfagor, what's the one? I'm fumbling on it right now, but like Beast of Burden type creatures that can just be big for like 6 mana, essentially, based on the number of creatures in play. You've got a lot of opportunities to get a lot of power out there, and then to take advantage of that, there's also spells that can boost the power of all your creatures in combat. So then, therefore, you're just like, you know what? Yeah, let's sacrifice this 80 power total, everything out of my deck. Boom! Big is it, fun times for all. So yeah, Kylox Visionary Inventor, absolutely love this design. Congratulations on your 2nd place finish. But now, the moment that you've been waiting for, the 1st place commander, the Golden Pig of Murders at Karlov Manor, is the Pride of Hullclade. When I saw this at first, I was like, that looks like a custom Magic card. But apparently it's real. A 2/15 Crocodile Elk Turtle, which apparently is a thing that costs 10 and a green. It's going to cost excess to cast for X, the total toughness creature you control. It has Defender, pay 2 blue. Until end of turn, target creature control gets +1/+0 and gains. When this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw cards equal to its toughness and can attack as though it doesn't have Defender. Oh my goodness, this is a brand new Defender tribal commander that we did not know that we needed, but yes we do. Arcades, step aside. I mean, Arcades also can really use this in the deck, but still, Arcades, hey, you got competition now, because this is a commander that, yes, costs 11 mana, but you're probably never going to pay that, right? You can get certain things out very easily, very efficiently, very effectively, because if you're just getting a bunch of toughness on a creature that's a defender, you can get a lot more toughness and you'll be able to get power, even at like 1 mana, 2 mana, or even 0 mana sometimes. So essentially, you're casting this for basically 1 every single time. And by paying just 4 mana, which you can reduce with things like Biomancer's Familiar or Training Grounds, you can give a creature +1/+0, and hey, go hit a player. Just go hit someone. And of course, there's plenty of ways to get creatures through in these colors, like, Levitation or like Rogue's Passage, whatever you need to do. Get it through, and then all of a sudden you hit. And let's say you hit with this one, you're only hitting for 3 damage in total, right? That player's like, okay, that didn't hurt at all. But you know what? You got to draw 15 cards. And that's like at a minimum, because there's plenty of ways to pump your creature's toughness by a lot. There's also ways to say, you know what? Instead of actually dealing damage based on power, let's change that up just a little bit and deal based on toughness. So with this commander, you are hitting for 15 right away. You throw a Slagworm armor on that, that's 21 right there. So this can be like a weird defender, tribal, Voltron commander in a way that can also really take advantage of card draw. Yeah, that is a spicy commander. I absolutely love this one. And again, the fact that it's a Crocodile Elk Turtle, that's just the cream on top. Cream on top. The cream of the crop, the icing on top of the cake. There we go. Getting thrown off here. Regardless, congratulations, the Pride of the Hulk Blade. You are my favorite commander from Murders at Karlov Manor. But now as this episode is coming to a close, it's time for me to hear from you. So in the comments below, let me know what your favorite commander is from this set and from the precons. And yeah, there's a lot of great options out there. Let me know your thoughts are on mine. Which ones do you think I should have included in the list but didn't? Also, make sure you're staying tuned to this channel for, again, I mentioned it earlier, the tiers episode, the most powerful commanders ranked. I guess all commanders ranked from Murders at Karlov Manor, from the S tier down to the D tier, the best to the worst. And yeah, see my thoughts on all of those. And also make sure you stay tuned for the golden toilet of Murders at Karlov Manor, where I talk about my least favorite commanders from the set for one reason or another. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.